So I want to talk a little bit more about trends, creating these emotional connections with people, because I think that's one of the most powerful things about podcasting, Joel. And of course, we're talking to Joel Comm here from the Bad Crypto Podcast, joelcomm.com. Listen, he's been doing it a long time. You definitely want to check him out. But Joel, I want to talk a little bit more about how we can stand out. Like you mentioned, timing is really important. Right now, there's a lot of podcasts, there's a lot of video. Everyone's on social media. Everyone's going virtual. Nobody's at work anymore, right?
Mhm.
What are some ways that we can actually stand out in this really crowded space on the internet?
Say something unique, right? To
Okay.
me, that is the most important thing, and that's not looking for something unique to say. It's asking yourself, what do I talk about? What do I know that's unique? Once John Lee Dumas had so much success with Entrepreneurs on Fire, and everything, Fire Nation was his thing. Everybody had a nation, Restaurant Nation, Cigar Nation, everybody, they're trying to duplicate his success. Oh, JLD did this show and he had experts on, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have experts on, and I'm going to have the same success. But again, he captured lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
There's a new fitness program or diet every month with a new bestseller. Why? How many books do we need on how to lose weight? We know what to do: move our bodies more and eat less crap. Right.
Right.
But what do? They throw something in there. Well, pineapples are the solution, right? Or, more meat and less carbs, whatever it is. There's always do this, and this, which we know. And here's my secret.
Mm.
And we're buying the secret. We're buying the thing that everybody else isn't talking about. And that's how these methods become bestsellers, is because I haven't heard that before. Now people are scared to take that risk. So they look at, well, what's succeeding for other people? I'm going to duplicate that. No, don't duplicate
Yeah.
that. Take your knowledge and your talent and your skills and your abilities and your wisdom and figure out, what's the one thing I say in my realm that nobody else is saying, or nobody is saying like this. And for a lot of people, they'll look at that and they'll go, well, I don't know if I'm right about that. That's scary. That's a risk for me to take. Others will go, that's my USP, and that's what I'm going to focus on. So we became the Bad Crypto Podcast.
Yeah.
We stood out from the others because we positioned ourselves as a humorous show for blockchain and crypto enthusiasts and newbies. And so, standing out is not something that you think about. Standing out is who you are. What makes you stand out? Do
Yeah,
that.
and I think that it's just so easy to get perfection paralysis, waiting for that exact right time, the exact right idea. But I mean, I can tell you that I tried dozens of ideas before I finally landed at where I'm at now, and I'm continuously trying new things because listen, the best time to start was yesterday. The second best time is today because it's so easy. I'll give you a perfect example. I had a friend who said, "Mark, I'm going to make a YouTube channel. I'm really excited about it. It's going to be great." But I'll start it after I get my kayak. Once I get my kayak, then I'll start my YouTube channel. I'm like,
Hmm.
what do you need a kayak for? Just go outside and start rubbing sticks together and record,
Right.
because it could be that you end up starting it and not enjoying it. And then now you have this kayak for what purpose? You know what I mean?
I can't tell you how many things I've started that I haven't finished,
Mm,
or I finished them prematurely. I finished them after one try, or there's times I've done podcast series for a month, and I'm like, okay, you know what? I did 30 days of this. I'm good. I'm
mm,
I'm done. And how do I know I'm done? I don't want to do it anymore.
mm.
Listen to yourself. If you're pushing yourself to do something that your heart's not into it anymore, odds are other people aren't going to care either. So why continue? Because you've already invested 30 days. I've done a podcast before for a year and a half, 2 years, and said I'm done.
Well, this is tricky here. This is tough, right? Because and this is something I think about a lot, right? You start a show, you start a podcast or channel or whatever, a business, and then there's this idea that you're just one video away, you're just one experience away. So I feel like a lot of times you get caught up in this. Well, I'm just going to do one more. But when do you? I mean, I think you kind of gave a really good point there, in Joel, in that if you're not having fun with it anymore, maybe now's the time to drop off. But that's kind of difficult, right? Because everything eventually becomes stale, you know. So how do you find the
Well,
right?
it can be, but the scales have to balance towards, I want to do this more than I don't want to do this.
Mm,
Right? And so for me, yeah, is it sometimes hard recording as many episodes as we want? Do we sometimes get guests that aren't all that interesting and we're like, ah, man, this one's not fun. I'm not learning anything from, yeah, that happens occasionally, but by and large, I'm very excited about what we're doing. We have great guests. We're producing, great shows and creating products along the way that are leading, a portion of the industry, and I don't want to quit. But there's been times I've invested a lot of money and time into a technology or into a certain sector of my business that ended up going absolutely nowhere. I can remember one time in particular around 2008. I had one of the first services for mobile marketing that behaved like an autoresponder service,
hmm.
sort of
Yep.
a get response or, you know, what's the constant contact, Aweber, where you would be able to join a list and then people would be able to send messages to that list via cell phones. And tried everything to build this, put six figures into it, had several of my team members at that time dedicated to it. But my heart was never really in it. And a few years later, I found myself still paying these monthly bills that I had to pay to keep the service alive, but it wasn't going anywhere. But when you shut something like that down, it can be really painful. And then there's the failure, that goes with it. But one day I finally decided this is dead. I'm going to quit paying these bills. I'm going to shut it down. And something really unique happened that taught me a great lesson. And that is the moment I shut it down, instead of feeling this sense of failure, I
Mm,
felt a release, like a burden was lifted off my shoulders.
yeah.
And I realized something very important that I remind myself of, and I'll tell others every chance I get. I stopped failing the moment I stopped paying for it.
Mm,
And so when you say just one more, if you're having fun and you are passionate about what you're doing, do one more, do 100 more. But if you're over it, nobody's going to be drawn to that. And that is
yeah.
actually draining, right, time and energy from you to keep creating that could be focused on something else.
Yeah.
And so move on. Life is, there's so much opportunity out there. There's this there's this philosophy that if you want to get somewhere and there's a closed door in front of you and that thing won't budge, you're supposed to just keep ramming at it and banging at it. And
Mm,
I'm like, that sounds crazy to me. That's too much work. Now, there are those that are single-minded, right? If you're trying to be an Olympic athlete and that kind of work, I get it. You're going to do everything you can and you're going to train hard and then you're going to see what the results are. But when we're talking about business, there's so many opportunities. Why bang my head against a door that is obviously firmly shut, bloodying myself in the process when there's open doors there, and
yeah.
there? There's so much opportunity. Why not explore it? Why not be curious and see where that curiosity leads you? I never would have planned building, having had built websites for 20 years, 25 years. I didn't know that I would, get sponsors and that I'd be able to flip sites. When my webmaster pointed me to a very rudimentary multiplayer game site back in 1996, I was just interested in games. I thought, cool, this guy's built something that lets you play chess and checkers and backgammon against other people in real time on the internet. And so I partnered with him and we built it, ended up selling it to Yahoo. I never
Wow.
could have planned that.
Yeah.
It wasn't even in the realm of my imagination because I wasn't even thinking about it. I just wanted to build a cool game site.
And it all comes from just opening those doors, trying new things, and frankly, there's
Yeah,
probably no better time in the history of man that you have the opportunity to try these different things all the time. I absolutely love that, and I mean, I think at the same time, there is some value in that delayed gratification, working hard now so you can enjoy, the fruits of your labor later. The challenge, though, and the reason why, the After Hours Entrepreneur is here is because there's been this concept manifested throughout the previous decades that you go to college, you get married, you buy a home, you have kids, you retire, and then your life starts. That
That how horrible
I
to
it's
wait until then for your life to start.
right.
Oh my gosh, shoot me now. I have family members that had this whole, went to school to be a professional and got the degree and then went into a profession that they ended up hating. But
Right.
like, I need to see it through for 30 years so I can be done with it and get my buyout or, then move and live the dream. I'm like, that's never worked for me.
Yeah.
I can't imagine it ever would work for me. Sounds like a prison time that you're doing.
Yeah.
And so I've been really fortunate. Maybe I'm just geared that way. More likely to take a risk than others. But I know that with those risks, there come the
Yeah.
rewards. And if you're willing to fail and embrace failure and do the next thing, then I think that everybody's got a lot to give. They just need to not squander that gift and find out how they best bring value to the world with the gifts that they have.
Yeah, I think you start looking at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and that lawyer job that you went to school for may put food on the table, but it's not going to get you to the next rung of your ladder to enlightenment, if you would.
Case in point, my friend Lou Mangello is a recovering attorney. He quit the law practice, moved his family to Orlando, lives behind the Magic Kingdom because Disney and the parks were his passion.
Yeah,
He's a big kid like me, and now he hosts one of the most popular Disney podcasts in the world, WDW Radio. And he's so glad he left the law practice, and he wrote the foreword to my book, The Fun Formula, because I could think of nobody who is, a better representation, the poster child for fun than Lou.
I love that. I love that, Joel. That is fantastic. Listen, everyone, you got to check out Joel Comm. Joel Comm everywhere. Of course, the Bad Crypto podcast. If you want to go deeper into podcasts, thank you so much for watching. I'm glad you enjoyed this episode. I got several other episodes right here for you. Smash one of these videos to make sure that you don't miss out on the tips, tools, and tactics of industry experts. Let's take that side hustle full time. Smash one of these links.